Did Isaiah see Jesus? Let's examine. We are reading from John chapter 12. Even after Jesus had performed so many signs in their presence, they still would not believe in him. This was to fulfill the word of the prophet Isaiah, Lord, who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For this reason they could not believe, because as Isaiah elsewhere says, God has blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts. So they can neither see with their eyes, nor understand with their hearts, nor turn, and God would heal them. Isaiah said this because he saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. Let me repeat. Isaiah said this because he saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. The book of Isaiah was written about 700 years before Jesus and is one of the prophetic books that give great insights of the Messiah's suffering, his death, and even his resurrection. John the Gospel writer, after quoting a few verses from the book of Isaiah, goes on to make an astounding claim. He says, Isaiah saw Jesus in his glory. Let's try to examine this claim and see whether Isaiah really saw Jesus' glory. We are reading from Isaiah chapter 6, verse 6 onwards. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces. With 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory. At the sound of their voices, the doorposts and thresholds shook, and the temple was filled with smoke. Woe to me, I cried, I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips. And my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. These are the words of prophet Isaiah. Then one of the seraphim flew to me with a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with tongs from the altar. With it he touched my mouth and said, See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away, and your sin is atoned for. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, that's the prophet Isaiah, Here I am, send me. In verses 1 to 3, we see Isaiah saying, In the year that King Uzziah died, he saw the Lord high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above the Lord were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces. With 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory. In verses 5, we see Isaiah saying, My eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. Let me repeat, my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. We know that in various portions of the Old Testament, God is addressed as the King. For example, in Daniel chapter 4, verses 34 and 37, we read, God's dominion is an eternal dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. Praise, exalt, and glorify the King of heaven, because everything he does is right, and all his ways are just. In Psalm 103 verse 19 we read, The Lord has established his throne in heaven, and his kingdom rules over all. In 1 Chronicles chapter 29 verse 12 we read, Wealth and honor come from you, you are the ruler of all things. When we come to the New Testament, we see Jesus in Matthew chapter 28 verse 18 saying, All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. In Revelation chapter 1 verse 5 we read, Jesus is called the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. In Revelation chapter 17 verse 14 we read, They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them, because he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings. In Revelation chapter 19 verse 16 we read, talking about Christ, it says, On his robe and on his thigh he has a name written, King of kings and Lord of lords. When we examine these verses, We know that when Isaiah said, I saw the Lord high and exalted, seated on the throne, and when he said, my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty, he actually saw Jesus in his glory. We worship this Jesus who is the Lamb who will triumph. He is the Lord of lords and the King of kings. God bless you.